Hi and welcome, it's Rob from Property Investments UK, and in today's video we're going to be looking at social housing HMOs, what they are and how you can maybe find those types of deals to invest in. So what is a social housing HMO? Well, a HMO is a house of multiple occupation. That's effectively where you have one main building, one main asset, but individual tenants renting in that property, and they will typically have their own bedroom, but then they maybe share communal facilities. They might share a kitchen or a lounge, or maybe even bathrooms, depending on the property and the location. Now the social aspect refers to the type of tenant. So typically we class social housing as individuals or usually companies or organisations that would rent a property, lease a property, and then rent it out to further individuals from there. So for example, to give some context, what we'd usually look to do on a social housing HMO is lease that property to a company or to a charity or to a housing association for a period of 3 to 5 years typically. Now individually, those organisations have demand to provide housing for end tenant use. Now those tenants could be a range of classifications. It could be people with mental or physical disabilities. It could be people that are maybe asylum seeker type tenants. It could be people that are maybe effectively requiring a lot of support from local organisations or support workers. So it's not necessarily somebody that's a professional tenant that's going out earning an income, or a student, or even somebody that's on housing benefits that would rent the property themselves. It's typically a tenant profile that requires some extra form of ongoing support. And that's where the social aspect comes in, because instead of renting it to that end tenant, we would usually rent it to an organisation who has kind of a requirement to provide housing as a social housing provider. Now, the individuals or the companies that we work with, as we mentioned, are typically housing associations, charities, or sometimes for-profit companies, but they just have a range of requirements in terms of the tenant types. Now, social housing HMOs are going to be located in specific locations. Primarily, it's because of where the demand is and where the requirement is from those organisations. So it's not something that can necessarily be done everywhere, but where it is the right location, where it is the right kind of tenant profile or the right organisation, the rental yields are fantastic, and the benefits for this strategy are amazing as well. So from a hands-off point of view, what we typically find is once we've set up the lease with those organisations, they manage everything. So they manage everything to do with the tenant profile once they're in the property, and also finding the individual tenants, but they also manage the rent payments. So as a company or organisation, they would pay the landlord directly. They don't rely on the end tenant. So if the end tenant hasn't got any income or isn't able to pay or defaults or can't pay for any particular reason, it's underwritten by the organisation. So your tenant, effectively, your company or the organisation that you lease it to, is the organisation that's responsible for paying the rent. Now what that means is all of the kind of deals that we've done with this particular strategy, we have zero void periods and zero arrears during the term of that lease, which is fantastic. It outperforms in that respect any of the property deals and property strategies that we typically do. So the management is great, the kind of the rental income is fantastic, the yields are great, but also from a maintenance point of view, what we typically find is it depends on the organisation and the lease in place, but some of those leases come with fully kind of maintained services as well. So they will cover maintenance up to a certain value per year, or maybe a certain value per item. What it allows us to do as a company is to really target and narrow down our cash flow on those particular strategies, so we know we can buy it for X amount and we're due to receive a certain kind of lease or income on that property, and then it's pretty much set and forget. We kind of hand over the property, hand over the lease, and then from a hands-off point of view, it's great as a particular strategy. So hopefully that gives you some ideas in terms of what social housing HMOs are. Now in terms of trying to find those deals, we have a number of different ready-to-go property deals on our website. So these are properties that are already refurbished, already tenanted with a particular social housing provider. So they're ready to go, they're already income generating. Now on our website, we usually have one property per category available that you can kind of look at as a live listing, but we do have many more available. So if for any reason you want to, or you really like the idea of this particular strategy as social housing HMOs, but you maybe want to see if there's any other opportunities or any other areas or different types of properties in terms of maybe rental income and the price and the purchase price of those properties, simply send us a message, give me a call or send me an email. I'm always happy to help and give you a bit of a walkthrough of what types of property deals we currently have available and see if they're going to be a fit for you. So hopefully that video helps, gives you a bit of an idea in terms of what social housing HMOs are. And below this video, I'll put all the links to the available deals that we have and also some more information in terms of what HMOs are, how HMOs kind of work, to give you some kind of context to specifically the HMO property strategy model. Hope that helps. I look forward to catching up with you in the next video. All the best.